and bring in Nkosazana Dambuza. She was outside Wits University in Braamfontein earlier as well. Nkosazana, we all saw the visuals of you ducking live on air when that stun grenade went off. Let's talk about whether or not we saw these protesters being aggressive in any way for police to have retaliated the way they did. What did you see?
Shahan, I'm going to have to ask you to repeat that question because I couldn't quite make out what you were saying.
All right, hopefully you can hear me now. Let's talk about that moment when police fired rubber bullets at students earlier and that stun grenade. I want to talk about whether we saw the protesters edging on police, if they were violent in any way for police to have retaliated in that way.
Unfortunately, I still can't hear what you're saying, Shahan, but I will speak about communication that we've received from the Wits University as well as IPID. So far, we do have statements that they've both issued, and I'm just going to read from both of them. Wits University is expressing their sadness basically over the passing of the 35-year-old, and in fact, they say they condemn all forms of violence that have been seen today as well as yesterday, and they are offering assistance to members of the public as well as students and members of the media who might have been affected by the violence that was seen today. But we also have a statement coming out from IPID saying they will be investigating the circumstances around the death of the 35-year-old man in Braamfontein today, who was caught in the crossfire amid clashes between police and students today. In fact, they did dispatch 4 investigation officers on the scene to probe the allegations of police brutality. And yesterday, when I was speaking to the students, a lot of them claimed that police would just start firing rubber bullets at them without warning. In fact, myself this morning, when I was attempting to do a crossing, police just without any warning really just threw a stun grenade just a few meters away from myself and my colleague without warning, without telling us that we should at least move to a place of safety. So indeed, I personally did witness that they did fire bullets and stun grenades without warning, and so a lot of people are condemning that form of police brutality.
Yeah, so Nkosazana, we're going to try and fix that audio for you so you can hear me, but I'll bring Aviwe in. Aviwe, we saw the HRC coming to the scene where you were a short while ago as well. They're also expressing concern about the excessive use of force here. What did they say?
Yes, condemning police, saying that it's not only this protest, that police don't give enough communication with protesters whenever there are incidents of this nature. They did allude to the students sitting down, saying that the police moved to students that were peaceful at that time, but did not communicate in trying to disperse them, but rather used excessive force to disperse them. As I'm talking to you, there's a letter to the minister here, Minister of Higher Education, coming from the South African Union of Students. I'll just try to read some aspects on it. Well, basically talking to the demands of the 2021 academic year and the national shutdown of all 26 universities. So it looks like that SAUS, that's the South African Union of Students, will be going ahead with the national shutdown of all 26 universities. In fact, this comes from their president, Mishek Mugabe, telling that the Student Representative Council of the 26 universities gives mandate in meeting, well, basically going into the shutdown itself. And I'm trying to summarize that. It looks like 26 universities has been given the go-ahead by the SAUS, the organization that represents all universities, student body, essentially, saying that they want all 26 universities to be officially shut down. A sentiment that was reiterated by SASCO just earlier on, saying that from tomorrow morning they want a national shutdown of all the universities.
Yeah, it's important to also give government side of this story. We, of course, spoke to the spokesperson for the Higher Education Minister, who says the issue of funding, especially when it comes to NSFAS, is being considered and that we should get an answer to this tomorrow. And also important to point out that the police are yet to respond to all of this concern of heavy-handedness. Our team has been trying to get a hold of Minister Becky Cele's office. We've also tried to get a hold of the Provincial Police Commissioner in Gauteng, but we are not getting any answers. So for now, we can only talk about what we're seeing live on our screens. Aviwe, I'm going to stay with you, and I actually want to talk about the university's response to all of this. Wits University has issued several statements over the past couple of days, of course, saying that they are concerned about the situation, but it's really out of their hands because they have no money. They can't do any more.
Yes, they say that they have bursaries in hand. They've tried to make means to meet the students halfway. There were meetings, we heard from the Deputy President, about 8 meetings that they've had with the students. One that I know of happened just last week, Wednesday, where that meeting came to a deadlock, essentially. Students saying that they want students that have debt to be allowed to register for the year ahead and, in fact, to continue with their studies. But the university says that we're trying to accommodate you students. Those that owe less than 10,000 Rand can come and register with that debt. And then they're trying to make provisions as well for those that owe above, making them pay at least half upfront of the money that they owe before they're allowed to register. But and then they also went on to say that 35,500 of their 37,000 students have already been registered, indicating that they're ready for the year ahead and, in fact, starting the online lectures from Monday. But the students on the ground, speaking with the SRC President, Mpendulo Mfeka, saying that the numbers are being mixed up. The numbers are far from the reality that they're seeing. And, in fact, what sparked protests last week were what they saw, video circulating of students that were sleeping in the library. So they're saying that there can't be students that are not ready, clearly, given that even some first years don't have laptops, but they're saying that they're commencing the year online, for example. So it's unfair for those students that come from historically disadvantaged backgrounds, seeing that they can't access those lectures while the university itself is still going online. Some of the issues that they're fighting for on the ground, and in fact the key issues around NSFAS funding, that the first years aren't going to get NSFAS funding because we heard from the Higher Education Minister that there is no money. So they're calling for a national shutdown, not only some of the leaders at Wits, the SASCO national leadership, and now the letter that I'm seeing going to the Minister of Higher Education from South, indicating that all 26 universities must be shut down.
All right, Aviwe, let's bring in Nkosazana again. And Nkosazana, I know you can hear me now, and I was asking you about police, of course, responding to these protesters earlier. You were caught in the thick of things. Just take us through that, and I know we have that lined up as well.
Yes, Shahan. So IPID have released a statement, and in fact, when I was still on the scene, I did see four investigation officers that were on the scene who were processing the scene after that 35-year-old man had died. And I'm just going to read through the statement that they've issued. They were notified by the Hillbrow police station of the incident that occurred this morning. They say that they did dispatch the relevant officers on the scene to conduct the investigation, including locating the person with the video footage, as well as identifying eyewitnesses on the scene. But furthermore, IPID says that they will ensure that the body of the 35-year-old man that was shot and killed today will be carried safely to the mortuary. We did, though, see that the body was taken by the police's vehicle to the mortuary, and there they were with the body was accompanied by students through a guard of honor, which was quite sad, really, in that moment. And in fact, I'm getting quite emotional now just thinking about it, Shahan. But also they say that the preliminary investigation will be finalized later today, and that the directorate will get back to us and they will give us more details.
Yeah, so let's take a look at how that unfolded earlier.
The students are... Viveka, indeed. Rubber bullets are going off, police.
All right, and Nkosazana,
and the rocks.
We'll just let you get to we'll let you get to a safe spot. And if you're able to continue chatting, then we will get back to you. That's what's happening at student
Viveka,
protest.
I'm still here.
All right, are you able to chat to us?
So police are now just trying. Yes, police are trying to disperse the students who were in fact, had blocked the corner of Jan Smuts Avenue and Jurison Street here in the Joburg CBD. There are rocks that are flying. Students are throwing rocks from every direction. They're actually now police are firing back with rubber bullets and stun grenades at the moment. They are trying to disperse them. We see there's a police nyala also that's arriving just behind me. Yeah.
All right.
But yeah, in fact, as you said in your intro, Yuveka, students are just calling for no one to be excluded due to financial reasons.
All right.
But I'll come back to you in studio.
All right.
Yeah, very tense situation. Of course, we are all over this story. Protesters at Wits University, of course, on the streets regarding financially excluded students not being allowed to register this year. They have now been dispersed. Our reporters, Aviwe Mtila, of course, still live on the ground, and Nkosazana Dambuza also covering for this for us earlier. We'll get another update in a moment.